Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am your Muse Traci and I am your favorite manifestation coach. I am here to inspire you and empower you to live the life of your dreams, to create on purpose exactly what you want in all areas of your life, to stop settling and to stop suffering. You are not here to suffer. If that sounds good to you, you are more than welcome to subscribe to my channel. I offer one-on-one coaching to help you transform and revolutionize your life in all areas. If you're interested in learning more about my coaching program, you can email me or leave a comment here on this video, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right, you guys, so today we're just going to dive right into this video. This is something that I get asked quite a lot, both in the comments and in email and in one-on-one sessions. And I know it was also something that I was contemplating and thinking about in my journey as well. So I know it's probably on a lot of your minds as well. So it's, what is your SP, your specific person, thinking while you're manifesting them, or anyone else, right? It can be your coworkers, your family members, your boss, your best friend, your neighbor. It can be anyone. So, and especially if there is a certain outcome that you are looking for, this is a really important topic because you don't want to assume unconsciously what they are thinking. Your job is to decide, right? And that's really the nugget, you guys. So your job is to decide what the other person is thinking. Okay. And so let's talk about why it's your job to decide, okay? Because remember, your reality is what you say it is. You are making up the rules for everything in your reality. And what you say that something is, you're creating that next slide, so to speak. I think that's what Bentinho Massaro calls it, the next slide of reality for you to experience is determined by the meaning or the expectation or the idea that you commit to, right? So we're not sitting back and wondering ever what someone is thinking or what they're deciding or what they are realizing, what they're deciding on their end, because it's up to you. It's your reality. Your job is to select what you prefer, right? Because there are infinite versions of this person. There are infinite versions of you. Infinite versions exist. You are choosing the version or the slide, again, as Bentinho Massaro explains it, of this person that you will encounter next by deciding what you think they are thinking, right? And so this is your job. It's your job to deliberately choose that according to what you would prefer to experience with this person. Okay. Okay. So now this is where people tend to ask me, but what if I think what they are thinking, but in their own reality, they're actually thinking and choosing something else? Okay. First, I want to tell you that you can never really contemplate someone else's reality. In other words, when you think you're contemplating someone else's reality, you're affecting your own reality. You are bringing that possibility into your own reality because you can't think in another person's reality. Although you can contemplate it, but you see, it's really your reality that you're still thinking about that possibility in. All right. Are you guys getting this? It's a little bit like clunky with words, but let me see if I can hit it again. So when you contemplate someone thinking what they might be thinking in their reality, like not your reality, you see, you're the only thinker in your reality. So you're contemplating that as a possibility in your reality because you can't be thinking in someone else's reality, right? Okay. So it's a little bit, it leads to confusion, right? And this is what I tell my clients when they come to me and they ask this type of question. I let them contemplate it and explain and, go through actually creating the confusion so you can feel, oh, that's just confusing, right? So the point I want to really drive home here is, although it kind of seems like you are contemplating someone else's reality, you're doing that in your reality, and you are in effect creating your reality. You are in effect affecting your reality. Words are clunky. You are affecting your reality by contemplating the other reality, because you can't be other than in your own reality. Okay? Okay, so if you are someone who has a tendency to contemplate another person's reality or contemplate another person's free will, even if you think you are doing it under the guise of thinking about it from their perspective, I would really encourage you to just like break the habit of doing that, because it's a little bit of an illusion that you're not affecting your reality. No, you are actually. You're contemplating that as an option, and the more you contemplate it, the more you align yourself with it, and the more you create the possibility of experiencing that. Because again, all possibilities exist, all parallel realities exist, and what you contemplate, that's what you are shifting yourself into. So yeah, if this is something that you have a tendency to do, I would recommend that you just remind yourself that you can only experience your own reality. You can never experience someone else's reality. So what is the point of contemplating what they're creating in their reality anyway? What is the point really? Your job is your reality. Your job is to focus on what you prefer to experience in your reality, right? And really cultivating this practice of only doing that, of only entertaining the portions of reality that you would love to experience. And this becomes much easier, you guys, once you have worked on your programming, once you have worked on your beliefs. Because if you struggle with that right now, if you're sort of always planning for the worst, or contemplating not desirable outcomes, it's most likely, I hesitate to even use the word most likely, because it is because of your programming, okay? Because you have programming that says, no, we gotta plan for the worst. We don't get to experience our highest and best. Highest and best exists, but just not for us, right? That's a lot of times what the programming is. That's the programming that I had as well, that I had to work through. It's like I could see my ideal life, my ideal relationship, my ideal everything. I just didn't think that I got to have that. And that's just programming, you guys. That's not true. That's a lie. It's a lie. Okay. So if you have trouble focusing on your preferred reality, your preferred version of people, the preferred version of what they're thinking, what they believe, what they desire, what they choose, again, it's most likely because of your programming. Okay. So that's why you need to look at the programming and go through the process of changing it. Because again, it's not enough to just know, okay, it's up to me to choose. It's then about being able to choose it. And if you struggle with that, it's most likely 100% guaranteed because of your programming. Because why else would you do it? Why else would you know that this is your free will? This is like your job, in a sense. This is your ability to choose exactly what you want to experience, but yet you struggle with that. Why would you struggle with that, right? The answer is your programming, your subconscious beliefs that sort of run the show. They run the show from the background. They stay a little bit hidden, but yet they are running the show, right? So if you want someone to be thinking a certain way, whatever it is, and whoever it is, by the way, this is much more, can be spread out to much more than just your specific person. This version of this person exists. You're not manipulating anything. You're not manipulating anything. You're just, through your own free will, assuming the person in question here is thinking what you prefer them to think, because all versions exist. So why wouldn't you choose the version of this person that is thinking what you most prefer for them to be thinking, right? That's your free will. So you never need to contemplate and lay out all the options and logically come to a conclusion. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. And I've spoken about this in previous videos as well. I know a lot of you, um, have a science background, or maybe you work in a scientific field. And so this field has trained you to look at the evidence of what is, and from the evidence deduce now what you believe is coming next, what's true, what the next logical step is. But in terms of manifesting, you never have to do that. You want to break the habit of doing that. Sure, go ahead and keep doing it in your job. Okay, that's a useful skill. But in terms of manifesting and creating your life and aligning with your preference, you never have to do that. Okay, so if you want someone to be thinking a certain thing, if you want them to choose what you want them to choose, again, whatever it is, whatever the subject is, you never need to contemplate all the options. You're always free to choose your preference. The options are only there for you really to gain clarity on exactly what your preference is, right? So once you know what your preference is, just stay focused on that. You don't need to go back to contemplating all the different options. You don't really need to do that. Again, the options are just there for clarity, but once you have clarity, once you know what you want, which a lot of you do, your job is to focus on that, to hold your consciousness on that. And here's a reminder that's really important as well, and I've been talking about this a lot, is that your consciousness is the real reality. Okay? The consciousness, your thoughts, your imagination, that's the real reality. 3D reality, the reality that you can experience with your 5 senses, is the effect of your consciousness. Right? This is really important to remember and to cultivate the ability to remember in the moment, because again, this lends itself to not reacting. You don't need to react to what you see being reflected back to you by the mirror. You don't need to do that. It's a little bit of a misunderstanding, or a little bit you forgetting that your consciousness is the real reality, and out there is just the mere reflection or a carbon copy of what you've dominantly done previously in your consciousness, what you've previously held your attention on, what you've previously assumed to be true. So really trying to hone the skill and practice remembering that your consciousness is the real reality. And if you keep your consciousness laser focused on what it is you prefer to experience, without wavering, without changing what you assume because of what's in the 3D reality, then what you assume, what you commit to, what you continue to focus on in your consciousness has to be outpictured. It has to be pushed out, right? That's all that's going on here. So it's about learning and remembering and practicing. I've been really driving this home, you guys, because, it does take practice, and I want you to be easy with yourself. You've probably spent years, if not decades, looking through a different lens, looking at maybe through the lens of logic. Okay, this is what has been, this is where I can get. Or thinking that you have to weigh all the options and then deduce what the outcome will be by all the options that are available. You never have to do that, and you're breaking the habit of doing that. But it is most likely going to take some time, going to take you some practice. And I've been repeating this a lot because I want you guys to be a little bit easier with yourself. When you're easier with yourself, you allow the transformation to happen much more quickly. When you're hard on yourself, when you're beating yourself up, when you're expecting this like flip overnight from yourself, you kind of work against yourself. You work against yourself. You don't allow the evolution within you to take place when you're so demanding on yourself. You don't have to be that way. Right? So allow yourself to practice putting these things into practice, what you intellectually know, and practice going from knowing to being. it takes a little bit of practice, okay? And be easy with yourself. Instead of beating yourself up for not getting the things you're not getting, what about recognizing the things that you are getting? What about recognizing the things that you are able to implement now, right? Celebrate your wins. Okay, when you have this type of attitude, this type of appreciation, you will accelerate the change that you're looking for within yourself by being easy, by celebrating your wins, by knowing that you're going to get it. You're going to get it. There's no option, there's no possibility for you to not get it, right? So you have to know that when you have that type of confidence with yourself, you can be more easy with yourself. I think it's, we tend to get hard on ourselves when we doubt our ability to get it. But you don't need to do that. You don't need to doubt your ability to get it. There's no risk. There's no doubt. There's no risk of you not getting it. You're going to get it, okay? Because you have the intellectual knowledge, you have the drive, the motivation to live this better life, to have different programming, to realize all of your dreams. So there's no risk of you not getting it, okay? Because if you don't get it first try, just try again. And little by little over time, you get better and better and better and better and better and better at it, okay? So that's it for this one, you guys. Keep it in mind that this is basically thought transmission. This is what thought transmission is. You're selecting what you want, the version that you want to experience of this person by thinking, by focusing on what you want them to be thinking, what you want them to be deciding and choosing. All the options exist. All the versions exist. In your mind, in your consciousness, you're just choosing the one that you prefer to experience, and you're staying focused on that one. This is how thought transmission really works. This is all the different parallel realities that are available to you now. Choose your preference. Choose your preference, which again is the next slide that you will be experiencing. Choose your preference and commit to it. You don't need to waver. You don't need to contemplate other things. You don't need to wonder what they're doing in their reality. Again, I know I already said this, but I'll wrap up the video saying it one more time. I really encourage you to stop contemplating someone else's reality, what's going on outside of your own reality, because you can never experience outside of your own reality. So why are you contemplating it? And by the way, when you do, you're bringing it into your reality. You're bringing that option into your reality, even though you think that you're thinking about it in terms of someone else's reality. You can't really do that. It's bringing it into your own reality. So again, we're just focusing on what we prefer to experience, because that's our free will. That's our creative power. That's what we are here to be doing. We're here to be deliberately selecting what we choose. We don't have to keep choosing these things that are against ourselves. You don't have to do that. You do not have to do that. Again, if this is a struggle right now, it's most likely definitely 100% because of your programming, because why else would it be hard? Why else would you be working against yourself? So the programming isn't yours. It's a lie. It's not what you chose, but there it is. And most of us have it. All of us have it, right? And I had this too, where again, I had the ideal, but I just didn't think that I got to have it. So that's what I had to go to work to change. Okay? Because there's nothing outside of me saying, you don't get to have that. But as the creator of my reality, if I have that concept, then guess what has to show up in my reality? Oh, you don't get to have that. Now, the reasons why I don't get to have it, not necessarily my creation. So it will look like, without this knowledge, it will look like, oh yeah, brick walls in front of me, limitations in front of me, reasons I can't have it in front of me, but that's me doing it. And I don't have to do that. And neither do you guys. All right. So that's it for this one, you guys. Leave me a comment down below and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.